Marcus.
I'm Ryan.
And together, we are the Northwest Sports Fanatics. We at you guys with the daily update, rumors,
news,
highlights,
hirings,
coming soon, gossip,
firings,
and all the other news in the world of sports today. So you want to kick it off? I hear we got something interesting that's never been done before.
All right, we still got a little bit of high school hoops news. All right, we got the number 5 player in ESPN in America.
Okay.
His name's Emmanuel Mudiay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and this guy was he verbally committed to go to SMU. Right,
with Larry Brown.
With Larry Brown, right? Obviously famous coach of Kansas and a bunch of other teams, right? He chose SMU over Kentucky and Kansas, right?
That's huge.
That's really big, right? He's a 6'5" point guard, possible number 1 pick in the draft, maybe in a year or two. But he decided to jump ship and go to China. And he's going to sign a 1-year deal, more than $1 million.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if it's just academics or he just wants to get paid or just maybe have the process be a little bit easier. But it's not something that commonly happens really that much anymore. Like you were saying, Brandon Jennings kind of started the trend. So it'll be a name for us to look out for. I mean, we're not going to hear about too much, right now because he's going to go to China. But obviously, a 6'5" point guard that's ranked that high, we're probably going to hear about him on ESPN pretty soon. So
yeah, I mean, you throw $1 million in an 18-year-old face. I mean, what you expect him to do?
Right. So that's one thing to kind of keep an eye out for obviously college hoops and obviously NBA. Moving forward, NBA news. Want to touch on 2 things really quickly. Evan Turner.
Okay.
All right. So formerly of the 76ers and the Pacers, formerly number 2.
He went back to Indy?
Didn't go back to Indy, but he actually did sign with the Celtics, though.
Okay.
Former number 2 pick is what I was trying to say there. This is kind of interesting for the Celtics now because you have Marcus Smart and James Young, and you're kind of overloaded at the position now where it's going to maybe make less time for those rookies. Which
and you still have Avery Bradley.
Right, and you still have Rondo there, and you still have
Jeff Green.
You're right, Jeff Green. So it kind of makes me wonder what they're trying to do. But I do think that Brad Stevens, obviously former coach of Butler, he knows how to get the most out of his players, and maybe that's what they're trying to do with Turner. Maybe trade bait. I'm not really sure what the mindset is. What do you think about Evan Turner?
Evan Turner is, of course, coming out of college. He has a lot of hype on him, being the number 2 pick in the draft. I don't think he kind of developed as we thought he would develop.
Right.
Me personally, I think he's playing out of position. If you go back and watch Evan Turner's old college tape at Ohio State, he was playing point guard.
Yeah.
I think that's the position that Evan Turner needs to be at to be effective in the NBA.
Okay. Kind of like a Kyle Lowry.
Yes.
Maybe like a bigger, thicker point guard, but it means someone that can still handle the ball. Even if he plays a 2, because it just seems like they rotate him at the 3 too much, and he's out of position. But we'll have to see if they can get the most out of him, because obviously since the Sixer days, it's been pretty bleak, So
a great start to your career.
Right. And then another kind of on a downside, a little down note, Mr. Rashard Lewis.
Okay.
He's been on the Miami Heat, coming off the bench, scoring about 4 or 5 points a game, nothing too serious. The Mavericks picked him up, right, for obviously the vet minimum.
Nice pickup.
Right, nice little pickup for 1 year, but they just found out he's going to have knee surgery. So they didn't disclose on how bad it is, if it's minor or major. It sounds like it's going to be minor. Otherwise, they would have made a little bit more of a big deal out of it. But he is 34.
Yep.
He's been in the league 16 years. But I think he can help a team like the Mavs. So let's keep an eye out to see how he progresses. And hopefully it's minor. And then he'll be ready around the season.
16 years, that's a lot of wear and tear on them knees.
Right.
And as you get kind of older, especially for Rashard Lewis, who've been battling knee injuries probably the last 5 years of his career.
At least, yeah.
So I know earlier, the other day we were talking about Ronnie Stuckey.
Okay.
Did he make a move somewhere?
The Pacers ended up picking him up. I know that was something that we were kind of going over, and we already knew that there were some openings with Lance Stevenson on the outs, and they were looking for a replacement. I thought that might be a good fit, that Rodney Stuckey would be there, and we mentioned that about a week ago, and it did happen. So it is a good fit for their team. It does give them toughness, someone that can make some free throws, who can handle the ball and make the right decisions at the right time. And I think that's really what the Pacers need. They do have players like C.J. Watson and these other players that are good off the bench. They need a little bit more, though, to really catch up to Cleveland
nice pickup,
and Chicago. But I do like the pickup, so that was a good pickup for them. And moving forward to a big topic right now that's on the NBA scene, Kevin Love. All right, so Kevin Love, the teams that are interested now are the Cavs, the Bulls, and the Warriors. All right, and it's been pretty much the same 3 teams that we've heard before. Obviously, the Cavs, they are attempting to give number 1 pick Anthony Bennett from last year, number 1 pick Andrew Wiggins, and a future number 1. That's kind of right. That's a lot. That's already kind of been laid out on the table. LeBron is for this trade, though, is what I'm hearing from his camp, because he wants to win now, and he wants Love there. No disrespect to Andrew Wiggins, I think he can see the bright future with him also.
He is intrigued by the future that Andrew Wiggins can give the Cavaliers.
But if he is only going to be there for 2 years, not 4, it does make sense that maybe he wants to win now, and winning obviously that quickly with
that's
Love.
That's a sticky situation, Do you go for the huge blockbuster trade, or do you kind of still bring things slowly along, not knowing how long LeBron is going to stay in Cleveland?
Especially if they bring Love over and they play 2 years together and they don't win the championship, and then if LeBron leaves, then you kind of are wondering, well, how many years is Love going to stay? Will he be productive? Are they going to build around him and Kyrie? So that's something to kind of look out for. But today they did make some moves to make some extra space. All right, so a lot of no-name players got moved today. So you got Carrick Felix and a future second-round pick, Cash. All right, to the Utah Jazz. For John Lucas III, that's kind of a name we've heard here and there.
John Lucas, the guy LeBron dunked on.
Right, and formerly of the Bulls and many other teams. Eric Murphy and Malcolm Thomas. So this is all non-guaranteed contracts. That's why they made the move. And so that's going to free up a little bit of space. Cleveland is very confident right now that Love is going to go there. And with the Warriors, I feel that they're kind of out of it now, because it was David Lee and Harrison Barnes, but they wanted Klay Thompson. Warriors said no. So I think pretty much the Warriors is you got to kind of X them out. I don't think that they're going to really have it. They want to keep it in the media that way, but I don't really think they truly have a chance.
I don't think they have a chance without offering Klay Thompson. But I did hear there's another team getting involved now.
Right, the Chicago Bulls. Now the rumor right now is Taj Gibson, right, Jimmy Butler, and what else? And so that's the key. It's not going to be Joakim Noah. It's not going to be Derrick Rose. It's not going to be Doug McDermott, Dougie McBuckets. So it's going to have to be someone else, but I'm not sure if that's going to be enough.
So it's all on the table now. So either you want to go Taj Gibson and Jimmy Butler, proven players that's been in the league that know how to get it done, or you want the young, up-and-coming, promising 2 number 1 draft picks from the last 2 years.
Right, so it's a tough thing. I think for Chicago, I don't think they're willing to give up Taj Gibson and Jimmy Butler. At least if I was the GM of Chicago, I wouldn't. I just don't think that would be worth it, because they have too much chemistry already. You know what I mean? They're just a few pieces behind. You know what I mean? And I think if they can just get Derrick Rose and obviously Dougie McBuckets and Jimmy Butler, all these guys all together, right? And they already got they got Pau Gasol and they got Joakim Noah. So I think they still need a few other pieces on their bench. But as far as coaching goes, and then the heart and soul of that team with Joakim Noah, I mean, they're right there. And it wouldn't surprise me if Derrick Rose can stay healthy that they make a little Eastern Conference Finals run, as we go into next year. And let's shift really quickly here now to football. All right, our favorite sport.
It's almost time.
Right, college football, right, and the NFL. We're ready for it. Chargers. Okay, they've been a little quiet in this offseason. We haven't really heard too much, but they did make a splash today extending Danny Woodhead. Okay, 2-year deal. This is huge. All right, he had 76 catches, last year for 605 yards, right? Which doesn't maybe sound like too much, right? But it was 6 TDs, and that was most by any running back in the NFL last year.
Danny Woodhead, as we know from his Patriots days, he's a very versatile running back. He can run the ball and catching out of the backfield. That's his best thing.
And he had 429 yards rushing, not too much, 2 TDs rushing. So he's obviously a guy that they throw into the flat, little screen passes, and he can make things happen. They did pick up Donald Brown from formerly of the Colts, right? And then they have Ryan Matthews at the last year of his rookie deal. So this might be the last year you see Ryan Matthews in that uniform, and he actually might be highly touted, going into free agency the next year.
His first healthy season since he's been in the league last year, and he put up big numbers. So maybe that was a sign of what Ryan Matthews can do in this league.
Right, and I know there'll be a lot of teams jumping at the opportunity to sign him if he can stay healthy. So that's something to look out for. And then last but not least, really quickly, former Colt linebacker Pat Anger, right? Very underrated, with Jarrell Freeman and the little squad they had with Mathis and obviously the nice little squad they had. The Falcons picked him up. Okay. All right, and this is a good move for the Falcons right now because Atlanta lost Sean Witherspoon, right, in obviously camp. and with the torn Achilles. So there was a huge void right there, kind of like with Deshaun Lee. They needed someone to bring in. Is it going to be the best fit? Probably not, but it's kind of, at least something's there, for them to pick up. And I think Pat Anger can really help their team. I mean, they're not really that strong on defense. Last couple years, they have drafted well at corner. They have actually gotten Trufant and Alford, which I like. They're kind of up on the up and up. But their team is on the offense. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, hopefully being healthy this year. Yes. But look for Pat Anger to make plays. I mean, it's not a Pro Bowl linebacker, but he's very solid. It kind of reminds me of Barrett Ruud when I had him on Tampa Bay a few years ago from Nebraska. So look for him to make some moves for the Falcon fans out there. It's not all is not lost going into the year.
You got some type of hope.
You got a little bit of hope there.
Weatherspoon, man. But
right. But I think Matt Ryan is
pretty solid.
Right, Matt Ryan will be healthy. You got Jacquizz Rodgers, obviously, at the running back position, and Julio Jones, right, one of the best wide receivers in the league, will help you win some games this year.
Yeah, he definitely will. Before we go, got something for all you Madden heads out there. I know I love Madden. Right. They released a couple of rankings for the new game coming up.
Right.
So I just want to go over some of the top ones there. Of course, Peyton Manning. 98 rating,
right?
Which is Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Then you go Aaron Rodgers with the 98 rating as well. Tom Brady slipped down to 93. Russell Wilson is a 93. Also, Drew Brees is at a 96. So those are your top 5 quarterbacks there.
Right, pretty accurate. And then as far as rookies are concerned, they had a few of those, right, that they decided to mention.
Well, of course, Jadeveon Clowney, probably the most talented, physically gifted rookie in the draft. He topped out at an 83. You got the freak at the old tackle, Greg Robinson. He's an 83 as well. And then you have your man,
right?
Khalil Mack.
My favorite player.
He's at an 81.
Right.
And my man Sammy, he's going to check in at an 80.
Right, and I got to shout out, obviously, my Tampa Bay Buccaneer, Mike Evans. Got a 78. I think that's a little low, but he will prove, I think, that he can get that closer to 80, as obviously we get into these first few games in the regular season.
All right, so there you have it. Our update, news, highlights, rumors, gossip,
hirings.
We'll be back at you guys soon with a division by division preview for this upcoming season.
Yeah, training camp starts pretty much for everybody between now and this Friday. So stay tuned for your favorite team. Go to your team websites. It should have a lot of information there.
And if not, then come to Northwest Sports Fanatics and we'll provide you with all the information you ever going to need.
Absolutely. Northwest Sports Fanatics. Share the page.